Computer. Hi, everybody. Welcome to your weekly coaching call. Coupling up a couple of things here. Probably put this out on my Realtor for Facebook for Realtors page. It'll also be available on my website, honish.io, as well as my Facebook page at Lee Honish Marketing. All of those are available. I try to help everybody out. This is a weekly broadcast for Monster Marketing, which is distressed property. Finally getting off of GoToWebinar. So greetings everyone from Symphony Tower. I'll probably just talk to you for a second, lean myself back and relax a little. Greetings from the tower. Happy here in downtown San Diego. Back from my journeys abroad from Hawaii and Las Vegas. I have seen lots of things. The first real tip, and I talked about this when I recorded earlier with David for that particular broadcast, was this company called Oyo, OYO, buying up Las Vegas and buying up a lot of the small motels and businesses along the Las Vegas Strip. Pretty shocking and very aggressive purchasing that they're doing. It's really interesting, actually. They're doing a huge redevelopment below the stratosphere all the way to the edge of downtown in Las Vegas. And this Oyo company bought up all the motels and a lot of the strip malls, and they're investing heavily. I don't know much about them. One of my goals when I got back on Monday was to investigate them. I have not done so yet, but it's one of my plans to do so. I'm trying to keep track of anybody who shows up a little bit late. I don't know if they're from Dubai, Victoria. I can safely say that they were purchasing extremely aggressively. I know that they bought the once Hooters hotel, and saying it out loud kind of amuses me. But they bought that property. They brought, as far as I can tell, they bought 8 or 9 of the small motels that date back to Elvis era type dates along the strip, certainly into the 50s. All those little small motels were purchased in and around downtown and up the strip. So they're probably a player on some level. There's a lot of distressed property happening along the strip from a commercial standpoint. I walked it. Because I flew into Vegas from Hawaii, I went to downtown and then decided to walk up the strip on Wednesday or Thursday and really get a good look at it. The decline of the area is pretty tremendous and pretty shocking on some level. But what I found more interesting about everything was there are a lot of small homes in and around and behind those properties, and a lot of them are taking huge impact hits from the reconstruction, the gutting of the street. These are certainly things to look for. Commercial is very interesting to me on some level of what's happening, of redevelopment that's happening, as well as devastation that's occurring from people not going to brick and mortar businesses at the moment. Anybody who's here, feel free to go ahead and type in a question. If you are listening to this or rewatching this and you want to join us and ask questions about distressed properties, feel free. Go to honish.io. There will be a link there. Or Lee Honish Marketing. It's pinned to the top of my page. I'll leave it there pretty indefinitely. For coaching students, existing coaching students, it's in the coaching room, but easily go to honish.io. I will update a link. There'll be a big link right on the front of honish.io. So you can join us each and every week, 9 a.m. Pacific, and you can ask me questions. You can ask me questions about marketing. You can do all of that. We'll do some live screen shares. I'll do some marketing, what I'm working on, what other people are marketing on. Is marketing dead now for distressed properties? No, I think it's more alive than ever. In fact, Donald, good question. I think it's more alive than ever right now, right? So I'm retooling the monster right now. I've taken it down. The only way for anybody to invest in it or be a part of the coaching program that we've had is to send me an email, lee@honish.io. I've had one person ask me for updated packages and things of that nature. I'm working on all of it still, right? It's on my to-do list among so many other things that I'm currently working on, between building websites, putting up content, producing videos and audio. I'm kind of in a heyday boom of working with people, and not just real estate. I'm working for a lot of businesses. So to answer your question, Donald, no, no. In fact, the only script change that so the way I want the monster to work, and I'm going to call it COVID-19 real estate marketing. Nobody's really brave enough to do it, but it's true. What's unique about the monster for this era is being able to um, what's unique about the monster is that you are able to put it up so it's contactless marketing, right? Um, with and I covered this last week with the lawsuit on cold calling, I suspect that pretty much anything that's aggressive is not going to be perceived very well by people who are behind on payments, right? So the numbers inside of Realty Track and all of those numbers have gone up. And there are a lot of distressed properties. It's a good trigger moment right now for real estate. It's a great triggering point in general for real estate, right? NODs, notices, like the tracking and the processing of real estate hasn't changed at all. It is still exactly where it should be. They're just not doing evictions, but clearly the banks on people who have not paid there. It's not what we saw. For those of you who aren't familiar with 2007, 8, 9, 10, there was a weird point where I was convinced that they weren't reporting actual notice of defaults and things of that nature, which seemed extremely obvious to me. Like the numbers were very high, very high, very high, Donald, and then suddenly they plateaued or they went down. And that's just not so, right? Like it looks like they just weren't reporting, or loan mods had finally kicked in, or whatever the case was. In this particular case, they're certainly up by 1 or 2%, and they're still nobody's talking about it. They're extraordinarily high, and they're historically high. They would be considered failure numbers by most state situations. So loan modifications and forbearances are affecting, but the fact that there are still millions of people who haven't taken advantage of forbearance agreements or loan modifications of any kind is still a staggeringly high number. It's as good a period of time as it was at any point, right? So what makes monster marketing unique in a COVID era, right? Contactless marketing of putting the marketing piece up, changing the scripting at the call center, right? So it's a permission-based marketing piece for those that don't know anything about the monster that are listening to this or watching this. You put a marketing piece on the property. The call goes to a call center. The call center script change, Donald, is going to be setting them up for a Zoom conference just like this. I assume everybody has Zoom. I assume that because of COVID, everybody is now Zoom friendly. That's just my personal belief and philosophy at this moment. This is the new norm. This wasn't like a big thing when I switched out from GoToWebinar to go to here. I believe that everybody was going to wind up on Zoom eventually, which is why I put this coaching call here at the end of the day, right? So the scripting will be the same. It'll get their tracking number, it'll get their information, capture their cell phone, capture their email address, right? Exactly the same order, except it'll be for a Zoom invitation meeting to be scheduled, right? So now you don't even have to make a phone call and set up the Zoom meeting. I want this to be, we have an advocate in your area who wants to talk to you about your alternatives to foreclosure. Are you interested? Can I get your email address so that we can set up a Zoom meeting? Let the call center do all the heavy lifting again, right? So the people that engage and the people that say yes, right, permission based, will say yes. Everybody's aware of doing Zoom meetings like this. And so it's just a matter of putting out tags. You don't have to go to the front door. I still recommend putting it on the mailbox or on the garage, which allows you to not make contact with homeowners, keeps you compliant with radius and being involved directly with homeowners. You can do a Zoom meeting just like this with them, right? You've captured their email, you've captured their phone number. You can follow up. You can send them a copy of the meeting. Then you can start sending them advocate pieces in regards. I think it's a great time to do it. I didn't want to do it because I thought it was sensational. To be honest, I thought making the monster available during COVID was very sensationalized if I did it. I have put marketing stuff up on my site, honish.io, and it's called COVID marketing, but it's really monster marketing. The truth of the matter is you can't purchase it. You can't invest in it because, again, I felt like it was sensationalizing and working off of, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people dying. And it doesn't sit well with me, or at least my personal philosophies these days. Over the last 6 months, and that's why I laughed. I rolled my eyes at myself. I mean, people who've worked with me now and Natasha will tell you who's on the call, I'm a completely different person in my personal philosophies on marketing and on life in general and how I operate. So things that are beneficial and helpful towards others are the things that I gravitate towards. And positive marketing messages. I think one of the most interesting things, because I was becoming very aggressive in my marketing ideas and my marketing direction. I had strongly debated up until about Christmas of a year ago, right? So 2020, December of 2019. Yeah, is that right? Did I get that right? December 2019? Yeah. So December 2019, I think, I'm trying to work it out in my mind. Was it 2020 or 2019? One or the other. Maybe 2020. Time flies when you're in COVID. I had met, no, because we were still outside, so it had to be 2019. I met with the upper ups at EXP and talked about coaching and bringing a large group of people in. And it was really aggressive, and people were kind of fighting over me and doing distressed properties. And I'm just not. Hi, I'm back. Everybody hear me now? Everything good? Okay, good. That was crazy. That freaked me out so tremendously. My thinking was too strong. So that was wild. I'll have to do editing. So I was aggressively looking at EXP in 2019 and probably into the first part of 2020 and working with them or partnering up with a broker. And I didn't want to take advantage of COVID. I still don't, particularly, but David's made it very clear that he's going in the current direction he's going with his company. So the advocate platform is available to me. So I think that is a great and profound direction that can cause a good level of change and gives people the opportunity to help everyone else. That's just where I'm at. And I'm going to stay where I'm at in being of service and trying to help people. I literally spent November, December, and January doing free marketing people for a week. And while I profess constantly on this coaching call that 99% of what you do is for free, and it's the 1% that pay you. It really was because of COVID. Nobody was online. And I was really, really ultimately shocked at how little people were online or adjusting to being online or working with being online. So with all of that said, that's a very long answer, Donald, to the direction of, yes, I'm going to bring Monster back for the coaching group. I'm going to make some script changes that you guys can hand over to your respective call centers. It is contactless, right? So you're just putting up the marketing pieces. You're letting the call center set up the Zoom meeting. That'll capture the email address. Then you do a Zoom meeting. It's just like a face-to-face, except it's even less aggressive, in my humble opinion, because you're doing it on Zoom. So, and they'll have to stay focused. They'll have to keep eye contact, and have good Zoom practices. I should probably have that, right? Make sure that your viewing screen is in eye contact directly above you so that you have the opportunity of not looking crazy and weird from different angles. But yes, the Monster will be back. I don't know if I'm going to sell it to the general public. I think it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. And that's normally a sales pitch in my industry. But in true reality, I just don't know where I'm going with it. So if anybody's on this call or watching this video, it's lee@honish.io. Let me know if you're interested. We'll see. Let's see. Answering questions. You guys are over there. I have to do it backwards. So I'm going to take a look at your questions and see what I've got. Natasha, I completely agree with that statement. I know. Am I not? What happened to me? I almost roll my eyes and laugh at what I've become. I can give you guys a whole hour on the secret and metaphysical beliefs that I have, and hey, get into the 4 agreements. I think you guys saw that when those videos came out about how obsessed I am with those topics. Lee, if there are no evictions, from Donald, Lee, if there are no evictions till after September 30th, 2021, what is the rush for people to sell their houses? I don't care about those people. I care about the people that are not putting their properties up, right? I suspect that there are a bunch of people just sitting around and waiting till the very last minute. Then they're going to call the bank and they're going to take a forbearance or they're going to do a loan modification. I don't think that there's anything you can do about it. And again, that is contrary to good marketing and good advocacy, right? So the alternatives to foreclosure don't change from a scripting standpoint at all. They stay exactly the same, right? So do I think that people are going to move, right? Before, we got upset with people that were actively in foreclosure by loan modifications, right? Oh, they're all getting loan modifications, but we found out that loan modifications fail. We actually have real dates for a change. We have a real date. And I don't know where you get this September 30th, 2021. Every market is different. And it's the media that influences the mindset of homeowners from California to New York. It has nothing to do with the actual date of when the foreclosure is, because the truth about homeowners, from my perspective, certainly by being online and doing digital marketing for the people that I work for, is the fact that they're influenced greatly by the media, completely. What's going on with my microphone? It's covered in hair. I don't have hair. So there's the answer to your question. If I'm looking, again, not to sound too much like The Secret, Natasha, if I'm putting it out there that people aren't going to convert, or people that aren't going to want to work with me because they're waiting till evictions, or they're waiting until they have to, right? If I'm playing that game, right, that's what I'm going to get. I'm pretty positive. I've said this: if your mindset of going to the door to meet someone is that they're not going to want to work with you, then I guarantee they're not going to want to work with you. I said that tongue in cheek before. Now, as a person who's adopted these philosophies in my life, I am telling you that if you're going into it that these people don't want to work with you, then you're right. What is actual, right? It's no different than 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 in the cleanup of the market, all the way up to, 17, 18, when it just completely went the other direction. Look, distressed property, defaulted properties were always hovering at 1.5% after 2014, 15, somewhere in there, right? They had finally gotten those numbers down and it was documented all the time. Tell me if you're noticing this, because I notice it all the time. They're not talking about the default rate much at all. And I have to look at the news, right? I do that podcast and broadcast and video package with David. So I look at real estate news all the time. I'm on YouTube all the time looking at content. I'm looking at what's trending all the time. It's what I do. It's what people hire me for. That's what real estate agents hire me for. David's hired me to be a spokesman for his company, and he expects me to be up on the news. And I'm telling you, nobody's talking about the default rate, and you have to dig pretty hard to look for it. It's out there, and there's certainly a larger number of people that are not making their payments. And in the long term, there is a longer percentage, there's a huge percentage of people that are unemployed and not going back to work. That is very for real. I think distressed property marketing right now, relative to divorce, death, like I'd love to know what people, real estate agents are doing for marketing. With no knock on EXP, I'm really intrigued with this, right? So the reason I thought about working with EXP, I bring a unique point to me being an EXP real estate person, right? Which would be, one, get my real estate license, turn back on. It's not a big deal. But number two, I would produce a team that would all do distressed property and actually get listings, right? Our coaching group is extremely successful in that degree. And the way that we market for people to work in our group has always been people who understand us. There was a problem for a while when we first started putting monster marketing out there, where we were just getting anybody to use the product, and it just doesn't work out. Generally speaking, the 500 of you that have the marketing system are of the correct mindset because of David and I putting you in the correct advocate marketing mindset. So if today's call is kind of firing you up, and I'm hoping that it is, you should do it. Don't wait for me to update the scripts. Don't send me an email saying, when are you going to have the new scripts? I'll have the new scripts when I have the new scripts. It's not hard to call the call center and tell them to change it and change your scripts. Okay. Nothing has changed. Those call centers are all still in place. They still have the scripts that are in place. I know nobody's doing the work because of COVID, but trust me when I say this, sending them a one-page script change that you could simply type out, hi, can I get your tracking number, right? Can I get your phone number in case we're cut off? I'm calling on behalf of a homeowner advocate who wants to talk to you about your alternatives to foreclosure. Hasn't changed. The only change is I'm not scheduling an appointment anymore. I'm scheduling, they want to contact you by Zoom meeting and talk to you about your alternative. Like, that's the script change. I'm just repackaging it all up pretty much the way advocate marketing is, into one zip. I'm not going to have a big drawn out website, because the big website I had before was for the active sales of the monster marketing package. So it had training and me walking out and putting stuff on mailboxes and, doing all of that stuff. Now it's not as important to me to have that coaching side, but doesn't mean I don't have monster marketing pieces. Doesn't mean that I don't have the package still. It doesn't mean I don't have all those things. I do. They're on a hard drive, because when I moved from Oceanside down here to San Diego, I'm just in disarray still. I mean, I got the studio up and running. It was a big deal. I'd only been here for a couple of months. It's really no excuse to be as behind as I am, but I have a bunch of clients who expect me to produce content to get their brand out. Not only in real estate, I have small businesses that I do marketing for. I have a very huge client that wants me to sell something that I can't even legally use ads for, and I figured out how to do that. Everything's about content, right? Even when you use monster marketing, or what I'm going to relabel as COVID marketing or advocate marketing, it doesn't matter. Probably wind up calling it advocate marketing, which David already has substantially in place. He's not going to actively sell it again and not looking to for a while. Since I'll be doing the 9 o'clock call again like this, I'm going to aggressively get you guys back into doing some form of marketing, right? The messages I put out for the people that I work for doing, their social media marketing and their website marketing. Number one thing I do is make sure that they get higher numbers of traffic and followers within their local area. The second is germane content. And it changes from week to week or month to month with me because I work long term. It's kind of a thing. That was a long answer for you, Donald. I apologize. I don't know, Natasha, necessarily that it's been, I have not seen September 30th, 2021 as the extension date on evictions at all. And it is definitely, you would have to check in Arizona directly in your particular case. Every single market, like I've got people on this particular call from all over. So it's different in every market. Speaking of Victoria Conway, in my old stomping grounds in North County, San Diego, I have been watching several homes that owners sort of borders areas so nobody can enter and have not paid for years, and maybe the banks were ordered not to move in on those foreclosures. Okay, I'm going to take this in two parts. So here's how a bank works. For those of you who don't know, my name's Lee Honish. I am the former head loss mitigator for IndyMac Bank's HELOC division. Haven't said that one in a long time. So banks don't have separate protocols. This is kind of a true fact. Banks don't have separate protocols for processing foreclosures, Victoria. And then I'll get to the second part of your question. Banks operate on one set of protocols for all things great and small, period. Because the sheer volume at those levels of foreclosure departments for asset managers are too difficult, right? So if California has these particular rules, then you apply those rules to the rest of the country. And we've done that. We've talked about that, back in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, where a rule would be applied in California, right? And the rule would apply for the rest of the country. You could use California short sale guidelines in Arizona or Florida. And it consistently worked. And it's for that reason that they're probably not foreclosing on anyone or anything, COVID or otherwise, mispayment or otherwise. They've got everything with a blanket on it. So let's say that there were people that were in active foreclosure before the COVID moratorium happened. The banks are all treating them with the same sort of kid gloves in general and not moving forward even on those properties, relatively speaking. I suspect that there are a great number of properties that are sitting on the edge and the precipice of real foreclosure the minute the moratorium's over. I personally would look for everything that has a notice of sale and work like Santa's little helper to get a hold of the actual original owner. And if it was via Zoom, be a mailer, be it whatever, I would aggressively look for those people and explain to them, because of this moment, you can still get money out of those walls. The message hasn't changed. And the thing that I personally am very, very passionate about in regards to working with distressed properties, COVID or otherwise, I do not, cannot, will not understand why people let a house go to foreclosure. And we've talked about trying to convey that message constantly to homeowners, but to me, one of the most shocking things on the planet is homeowners letting a property go to foreclosure. And if their goal is just to wait it out because they aren't going to make the payment when the forbearance comes due, or not take advantage of forbearance, or they were having stuff happen before forbearance, or people have lost jobs and ultimately they're still going to wind up in a situation, doesn't matter. walking away is a horrible, 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 horrible alternative. It just is. Look, I'm not even going to get into the trying to rent with a BK, trying to rent with a foreclosure, trying to rent with the missed payments. Forget that. Okay. Um, you're just walking away from money in a period of time where money really matters. I mean, I think it's great that the government is trying to pound out another $1,400 for everybody on top of everything else that's going on. It's great. Um, but I'm in San Diego. $1,400 is maybe a weekly average salary in the downtown San Diego area. And I don't know what people can afford, when you're only making $52,000 or $56,000 a year, and that's considered a good job. Um, it's expensive, right? It takes thousands and thousands of dollars per week, unless you're able to lower your overhead dramatically. So if you're unemployed, it must be terrifying as hell. It must be. I don't. I'm truly blessed and thankful for the people that I coach and work for, and that's. I don't say that with anything but humility. When COVID first hit, a lot of people that I was helping or coaching or working with wanted immediate refunds and their money back. I didn't fight with anybody who asked for money or anybody that puts in a request. Still don't. If you put in a request to get your money sent back to you, you'll get it sent back to you. I mean, I can only go back 30 days for people when I work with somebody, but I do everything on Square. Just click a button. You challenge it with your credit card company at any point. And I haven't fought a single one. I know that it's tough. Is it fair to me? Is it fair to my family? Doesn't really matter. I'm able to sleep at night. Weirdly, to answer that question. So that's where my head's at on all of that, especially because I come from the Bank Victoria. I think that the minute the foreclosures are open, while there might be a backlog, depending on what particular area it is, it's going to be mind-boggling. What else? You were ordered not to move on the foreclosure, so convince them that the banks are not touching them and letting them stay. They're not. But again, if we're looking for all the reasons that they're staying or all the things that from a scripting standpoint, certainly in marketing, direct marketing, the way it's permission-based marketing, but from a marketing standpoint of discussing scripting with people, this is no different than a loan modification. This is no different than I'm going to do nothing. I think we can constantly find reasons that people will say no or have difficulty with us. I think the bigger issue is trying to find people, right? I can tell you this, nobody is doing any form of direct marketing successfully. It's true. There's no door knocking. Cold calling cases are getting lawsuits. What's that leave? Mailers? I know this from my own home. Mailers are through the roof on people trying to market. And why? Because people still fundamentally won't go online and do a business page or a Yelp page or a website, get page one, create content, push people, build their brand, work long-term, do podcasts, do videos. This is the most successful way long-term of building a following. By far, what I'm doing right here. Period. This is by far the best way. Getting email addresses, sending emails to everybody, rinse, repeat. Text is true. That's a good one, Natasha. Because I give out my phone number for people to text me. By the way, anybody can. Text me at 858-663-2537. I'll still do marketing for free for all you guys who hear it on here for a week. If you're behind, or at least let me get it built out for you. I've now got a guy that works for me, does most of my grunt labor these days. He's a good guy. OCD is great. I seem to do very well with OCD people. Sorry, that was amusing to me. I think never mind. Seems to be what is attracted to me and my chaos. OCD people like working with me, go figure. So I have that out there. But texting is way up. I might readdress because I give out my phone number, it's been scraped a lot off of social media. And there are people out there scraping. People have come to me about scraping data. If I were to, I've got a source that I refuse to promote. One, I haven't tested it, and I've made that mistake previously. But two, they will go out and get real phone numbers, real email addresses of people off the distress list, and they'll scrub it and make sure they're real. I don't know how I feel about that. Is that weird? Like, I'm okay with Amazon and YouTube and everybody else listening to this microphone or the microphone on my camera right here, or on any of my active phones or even my Alexa. And they are listening to me, right? You can talk about anything around your home and it'll show up on your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google. The AIs are all listening to you, and you have so many different devices that are feeding information into these AIs that's basically what you're seeing. I'm okay with that. I am. Some people aren't. I am. I don't have any misconceptions about my devices listening to me. I wish I understood the artificial intelligence more, but I don't know that. I literally kicked my camera. I don't know necessarily that what to do with that information. I just know how the AI works and the algorithms work, which meets with my asset manager brain very well. I see the direction of the way things are going. Any other questions? But yes, we'll be talking week in and week out. You guys should go out and tag. I don't know why you wouldn't, Donald. Go put up some tags. Call the call center and make one change. Tell them you want to schedule a Zoom meeting instead of a face-to-face. That's it. That's the change. I'm going to write the script for it. I'm going to put the package out there. I'm going to do all that. But it's going to be when I can do it. I'm behind. I had to hire someone as it is to come in and do a lot of my work that I do, like the day-to-day stuff. So I have another client who wants to hire me for a big content package, right? Big content package. It's a big contract for my marketing company. Big. And on top of that, I'm directly involved with a bunch of video and audio content as well. And those people want to keep going as well. So all that's all very real. So to answer your question, I will be repackaging the monster. It'll be a zip. It'll probably go out like Advocate Marketing does. Here's your package. Join us. You can talk about it. You can ask questions every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Do you guys want this? And again, this is your coaching call. We can go back to 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock was to work better with my schedule and David's schedule, which is why we got pushed to 9 o'clock. I can put this meeting wherever you want it, but if it's good, Wednesdays at 9 where it is. This is already set up for 42 straight meetings. Again, those listening to the replay, go to honish.io. There will be a link on there. Coaching students that are already existing, you'll find it in the Monster Coaching Room, or you'll find it on my business page at Lee Honish Marketing. So those are all good locations. If you're brand new and you want to find out about Monster Marketing or want me to talk to you about it to see if I can get you started on it, it is not free. And I do not give up the secrets of how the process works, but I will be happy to talk to you. You can find a video on honish.io, but send me an email, lee@honish.io. Again, everybody who wants free marketing for a week, I guess I'll do that for you guys for a little while. Or now that I got a guy, I should probably teach him with some stuff. Text me, 858-663-2537. Just text free help. I'll call you, or my guy will call you from my cell. I think he starts today at 10 o'clock. I cannot believe I have a real marketing company. Very weird. Didn't see this direction. You like 9, Victoria? Cool. Everybody go ahead and load up questions. I'm here till the top of the hour to answer all of your questions. I'm going to shut the video off here and probably re-edit it to the previous point.